The boy who entered Auschwitz with a violin, the forgotten song of Alma and the camp orchestra in the heart of Auschwitz. Where hope went to die, one sound kept echoing music, not screams, not silence, but violins. One boy entered with nothing but a broken instrument and a secret. What happened next is a story no one told. Until now. This isn't a war story about battles. It's about something more haunting: survival in the very belly of death. A song that tried to rise, even as millions fell. In 1943, Auschwitz-Birkenau was more than a concentration camp. It was a factory of extinction. Gas chambers ran day and night. Trains arrived hourly. Families were torn apart in seconds. Humanity was erased in a line, a number, a bullet. But amid this horror, music played, and leading that orchestra was Alma, a Jewish Austrian violinist, niece of composer Gustav Mahler, famous across Europe before the war. But now, in Auschwitz, she conducted not for applause but for survival. Every morning, as prisoners marched to forced labor, the Women's Orchestra of Auschwitz played marching music, classical arrangements, polka songs meant to mock and control. The Nazis believed that music kept prisoners orderly, but for Alma, it was a shield, a slim, trembling barrier between death and one more breath. Then came the boy. He was small, thin, pale, even for a prisoner, only 12. His name Daniel Stern, from a family of musicians. They'd arrived on a cold afternoon in spring. His parents, gone within hours. Only his violin kept him from following them. The guards laughed when they saw him, a child holding a cracked, undersized instrument like it was a sword. They shoved him toward the barracks. But so I know, one knows exactly who mentioned the word orchestra. And so Daniel played first in front of a capo, then in front of an SS officer. And finally, for Alma, she didn't speak. She simply nodded and let him join. He wasn't placed with the adult men. He was too young, too fragile. He played beside the women, the only child in the entire orchestra, fingers trembling, notes that wavered. But he could play, and play. He did 4 roll calls, for executions, for arrivals. Music in Auschwitz was never innocent. Every note was twisted, turned into a tool. The orchestra had to perform cheerful marches while watching friends dragged away, had to serenade while the smoke from crematorium turned to sky gray. And Daniel, he watched, and played, and remembered. Alma became his protector. When his fingers cracked from cold, she gave him her gloves. When he collapsed from hunger, she gave up half her bread. In that place, where kindness was punishable by death, she gave him a chance. But Auschwitz takes everything. In October 1944, Alma collapsed during a rehearsal. Some say it was typhus, others whisper of poison. The Nazis refused an autopsy. She died within hours. Daniel didn't speak for 3 days, not a word, just sat with his violin, bow trembling, cheeks hollow. Then, on the 4th day, during morning roll call, he began to play. Alone, no sheet music, no command, just a song, soft, shivering, real. Prisoners turned. Even the guards hesitated. That melody so said it felt like silence breaking open. It was not meant for them. It was for her. For Alma, the woman who gave him music instead of death. Weeks later, Auschwitz was the death marches began. Thousands perished in the snow. But Daniel didn't. He survived. Liberated by Soviet troops in early 1945, he was found near a railway line, clutching a violin to his chest, malnourished, mute, breathing. It took him years to speak about it, decades to play again. But when he did played Alma's final song. He died in 1997. No family, just a small note in a Polish newspaper. Violinist Auschwitz survivor, Daniel Stern, dies at 66. That was it. No mention of Alma, no mention of the orchestra. No echo of the music they dared to play in the Valley of Death. But this is their echo. Because what Alma and Daniel Stern did wasn't performance. It was defiance. They turned the very weapon of the oppressor music into a whisper of resistance. They refused to let beauty die, even as everything around them was turned to ash. And they remind us, even in the darkest hell, art survives. Kindness survives. Memory survives. Because some songs don't end. They just wait for someone to listen. If this story touched you, share Alma and Daniel's legacy. Write their names in the comments so they are never erased again. And subscribe for more true stories that history forgot, because remembrance is rebellion, and silence is never an option.